Five incredible archaeological discoveries. Number 5. Burials. Animals as diverse as dogs, geese, and elephants have been seen to mourn their dead. Yet once their mourning is over, they leave their dead to rot and move on with their lives. It is only humans who bury their dead and seem to worship the spot of interment. But at what point in history did simply leaving the corpse of a fellow human evolve into ritualized burial? Number 4. Tin mines. Bronze making is considered the second historical leap in metalworking. Very few metals are workable in their native form, and these include, for example, gold and silver. Bronze is an alloy of copper and tin, and it's stronger than either metal. Mines of Cornwall show that they have been in use for thousands of years. Finds of goods imported from the Mediterranean show that trade existed between these far-flung communities during the Bronze Age. Even in the distant past, the world was not so isolated as we might have imagined. Number 3. The city of Troy. Until the 19th century, almost every educated person would have said that Troy, the city at the center of the Iliad and the Odyssey, was purely legendary. Modern archaeologists find the methods of excavation used by Schliemann to be destructive, but they were the best available at the time. Despite his lack of care in digging through various layers of history, Schliemann discovered a vast cache of treasure inside the mighty walls of the city. But it is not for the gold he found that I include Troy in this list. I include it for what it reveals. The rediscovery of Troy shows that it is entirely possible for oral and folk tales to maintain fairly accurate records of the past. Number 2. The earliest polished tools, most notably axes, were discovered in Japan, and are thought to be around 30,000 years old. The axes are thought to have played an important role in the massive clearing of forests which took place during the Neolithic period, as humans began to prepare land for farming. But the tools seem to have had a purpose even more incredible than the practical function for which they were originally built. The importance of the axes seems to have turned them into a symbol of social prestige. Some have been found that are too large and heavy for a man to carry, suggesting that they were some of the first known objects created entirely for the bragging rights of the owner. If this were true, it would signal a huge leap in the social evolution of humankind. And there's more. After a time, the axes began to symbolize not only the merit of a man while he was alive, but also his legacy after death. Men seem to have been honored in death by being buried with their axes, and it is thought that the axe eventually became a symbol of the society's collective memory of an individual, much like tombstones today. Number 1. Vindolante documents. Debate still rages as to the function of Hadrian's Wall in northern England. Was it defensive, or merely a trade barrier? The fort at Vindolante gives us an insight into the people who lived there as well as the people who lived in the Roman Empire at the height of its power. Those who lived on the wall used thin sheets of wood to write on, papyrus being far too expensive to import from the southern provinces. The tablets contained not the grand inscriptions of the emperors but the simple notes between soldiers, and even their wives. One soldier, for example, in a tablet addressed but probably not sent to Emperor Hadrian, writes, "As befits an honest man, I implore your majesty not to allow me, an innocent man, to have been beaten with rods." These writings allow us a unique view into the life of common soldiers at the time of the Roman Empire.